Some of them have no head, the head being cut. Some of them, the arms, the legs. Before they reach the checkpoint of American checkpoint, they return back. They said to them, please return, the villagers. They said to them, return back, return back. When he tried to return back, they shoot him from the checkpoint.
No gunshot wounds?
No. I don't know what it was really. We are here 10 surgeons. We couldn't decide what was the weapon which been hit this car.
But inside the bodies you did not discover ordinary bullets?
All of them we didn't find bullets.
Yeah.
We didn't find bullets. But most of the injured people been dead. So they took them immediately to the refrigerator. We couldn't dissect them, see. But those who are alive, we couldn't find any kind of shells. We didn't find shells inside their body.
Something cutting organs, cutting limbs, attacking the neck, attacking the abdomen, and goes out.
Dr. Faluji also ended up speaking about a laser weapon.
But I don't think the bombing and the cluster bombs and the laser weapons could bring democracy to our country.
As in any war, the war in Iraq left us a dreadful gallery of horror, images of mutilations that not even doctors can explain. The witnesses refer to laser weapons, arms with mysterious effects. We do not know what kind of weapons could produce such terrible effects. We tried to learn more about it by asking for interviews to members of companies manufacturing laser and microwave weapons. Yet, the U.S. Defense Department prevented any information from being released to us. They also did not answer, up to the time the film was edited, the questions we had sent them in order to know whether or not experimental weapons had been tested in Iraq and Afghanistan. We tracked down the Pentagon press conferences from before the beginning of the Second Gulf War to see if they spoke about any new weapons being tested. The words of the Secretary of Defense and General Mayers indicate a willingness to try weapons that had never been used before, and the questions from the press about direct energy and microwave weapons made them visibly uncomfortable.
Mr. Secretary, can I ask you a question about some of the technology that you're developing to fight the war on terror, specifically directed energy and high-powered microwave technology? When do you envision that you can weaponize that type of technology?
Goodness, it is in, for the most part, the kinds of things you're talking about are in varying early stages. Do you have anything you'd add?
I don't think I would add much. I think they are in early stages and probably not ready for employment at this point.
In the normal order of things, when you invest in research and development and begin a developmental project, you don't have any intention or expectations that one would use it. On the other hand, the real world intervenes from time to time, and you reach in there and take something out that is still in a developmental stage, and you might use it. So your question's not answerable. It depends on what happens in the future and how well things move along the track, and whether or not someone feels it's appropriate to reach into a development stage and see if something might be useful, as was the case with the unmanned aerial vehicles.
But you sound like you're willing to experiment with it.
I think that's the point, and I think, we have, I think, from the beginning of this conflict, I think General Franks has been very open to looking at new things if there are new things available, and has been willing to put them into the fight even before they've been fully wrung out. And I think that's not referring to these two particular cases of directed energy or high-powered microwave, but sure. And
yes,
we will continue to do that.
But what is meant by direct energy microwave weapons? We went to ask ex-Colonel John Alexander, former program director in one of the most important military research laboratories in the U.S., Los Alamos National Laboratory.
The research and certainly the concepts for direct energy weapons go back many decades. What is happening is that the technology has now advanced sufficiently that we're starting to see the weapons come into fruition. In other words, they're becoming real. There are several types of directed energy weapons, and basically what they do is they're known as speed of light because they shoot electrons very fast over very long distances. Lasers, of course, are in the light range. Then there's microwave weapons that are operating at other frequencies, but basically they're beam weapons in which nothing physical goes out. The electrons move, but the kinetic weapons you talk about, you're shooting big bullets to go out and physically hit and destroy something. These work because the energy is disposed on the target and causes some effect.
These images document one of the TEL tests. TEL stands for Tactical High Energy Laser. In the sequence, you can see the laser beam hit and destroy missiles and mortar rounds as they are about to hit the objective. In this other test, we see the laser beam identify and destroy two missiles at the same time.
They don't make any noise and they are invisible.
Some are visible, some are, just outside. You have, in the infrared range. What's emerging now are laser weapons, where the effect is that of the laser. And they can be hole burners, what we call very high energy laser, because with the concentrated energy, you can literally drill holes, in a target.
People might think that energy weapons only pose a danger for the countries involved in a military conflict, but that's not the case. One particular weapon called the Active Denial System, better known as the Pain Ray, has been built specifically for use in maintaining public order. Given its claim to be non-lethal and the suffering it produces, this weapon could become a very controversial one.
The active denial system is a millimeter wave system, operates about 93 gigahertz, sends out a beam for a very long distance. And what's important about it is that when it hits the skin, it penetrates only a very slight, a few millimeters into the skin. And it hits the pain receptors and causes, people to be averse to the pain. It hurts a lot.
How long can he?
The tests that have been run, they were to go to 3 seconds. Each individual was given a kill switch. Nobody made 3 seconds. The onset of pain is extremely rapid. And you don't have to do it very long. I mean, it gets your attention instantly.
To understand the consequences this new weapon could have for human rights, we went to the Empire State Building in Manhattan, home of the offices of Human Rights Watch, one of the most important human rights organizations.
We can see the effects of a gun very easily and understand them. But when you cannot see the effects of a weapon because it is not visible and because the science is not very well understood because it's so new, then it becomes of grave concern to us and raises the stakes for potential human rights violations and abuses. Pain is induced upon the people. And that's what we have to understand about the active denial system, that it exists to create pain. And that's very different than most other non-lethal weapons, where the desire is to either immobilize someone or make it so that they cannot walk in an area. And we have to be very careful because in international law it's very clear that devices created solely for the creation of pain can eventually lead to torture and are therefore illegal. And it's very critical that the United States does a careful legal review of the active denial system and is open with their findings. To date, they have not been open.
Out of the car or I'm going to tase you.
The next street off the Secret.
On your stomach. Do it now. Put your hands behind your back. Do it now. Do it now or you're going to get tased again. Do it now. Do it now. On your back. Put your hands behind your back.
can't. Come here.
Oh, got it. Got blood on her.
Oh my God. You tased me and you handcuffed me?
Yep, you're under arrest.
For what reason?
Your license is suspended.